Two women walked into a lawyer's office on the same morning. They had never met. They were both dressed in black. They were both grieving the same man. And by the time that lawyer finished reading, everything they thought they knew was gone. This is the story of Adayezi and Miriam, and the husband they shared. Adayez had been married to Daniel for 19 years. 19 years of a shared home, shared children, shared silence at the breakfast table. The kind of marriage that stops being romantic and becomes something quieter. Something like architecture. Solid, load-bearing, unremarkable until it isn't there anymore. When Daniel got sick, Adayez became his caregiver without being asked. She drove him to appointments. She managed his medications. She sat beside him in rooms that smelled like antiseptic and waited while machines told her how much time was left. He died on a Tuesday. 3 days after the funeral, Daniel's lawyer called. He said there were matters regarding the estate that required her presence. Adayez assumed it was routine. Property transfers, account documentation, the quiet paperwork of grief. She dressed carefully that morning. She arrived at the office at 9:45. There was already a woman seated inside. The woman looked up when Adayez entered. She was wearing a ring Adayez recognized immediately. It had belonged to Daniel's mother. Daniel had told Adayez he kept it in a deposit box. The lawyer entered and introduced them. The seated woman's name was Miriam. The lawyer said she was Daniel's wife. Miriam had met Daniel 11 years ago at a work conference. He had been charming, attentive, the kind of man who remembered small details. He told her he had been divorced for several years, that his marriage had ended long before they met. Miriam had no reason not to believe him. They married in a small ceremony. His children attended. She thought they were just adjusting. She understood later that it was because they knew the truth. When Daniel got sick, something shifted. He asked Miriam whether she believed a person could carry two lives in the same hands without dropping either one. She told him she didn't think so. He nodded slowly, like her answer had confirmed something he had already decided. Miriam walked into that office knowing something was wrong. The lawyer introduced them. The seated woman's name was Adayez. He said she was Daniel's wife. Miriam looked at Adayez's hand. Then she looked at her own. Same ring. Identical in every detail. Daniel had two made. The lawyer read the will slowly. He divided everything down the middle. The house, Adayez's house, left equally to both women. 19 years against 11. Halved without ceremony. Adayez sat very still. She did not cry. She did not speak. When it was over, she looked across at Miriam. Miriam was crying, just quietly coming apart, the way a person does when the ground disappears. In that moment, Adayez understood something. Miriam hadn't known. She had been deceived just as completely. They were not rivals. They were two women who had trusted the same man and been betrayed by him in exactly the same way. After the reading, both women sat in the car park for a long time. Not together, in separate cars, 3 spaces apart. Eventually, Miriam got out. She walked to Adayez's car and knocked on the window. Adayez unlocked the door. Miriam sat in the passenger seat. Adayez told Miriam about the ring, how Daniel had said it was in a deposit box. They held up their hands. Same engraving on the inside. Always. Adayez said, "I don't want the house. I need you to know. I didn't know about you, and I'm sorry for what his sins cost you." Miriam asked the only question she had left. "What do we do now?" Adayez looked at her and said, "We find out what else he lied about." 3 weeks later, they hired a private investigator. What they expected to find was another woman. What they found instead was a third will. Daniel left everything, the real everything, to a charity, a children's hospital, one that he had been donating to quietly for 15 years. The lawyer they met was not his real lawyer. The will was a decoy. All of it was constructed so that no one would find the third account. 2 months later, Adaiz and Miriam stood outside that hospital. There was a small plaque on the wall, in memory of Daniel, who kept his promises quietly. Adaiz said, "I still don't forgive him." Miriam said, "Neither do I." They stood there anyway, in silence, together. Was he a good man who made terrible choices? Or a terrible man who did good things in secret? Leave your verdict in the comments below. And if you want to know what Adaiz and Miriam discovered when they looked even deeper, the next part drops soon. Subscribe so you don't miss it.